Welcome back everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a honey bourbon glazed, double smoked Christmas ham. Now we're going to get started by setting our barbecue up. We're going to be using our drum smoker. We'll start by removing our cooking grate, then our heat deflector. And this isn't going to be a long cook today, so we're just going to half fill our charcoal basket with either lump charcoal or briquettes. We just want to pile them up on one side, then we can bury a couple of firelighters in there and light them up. Alright, so we're going to be using a pre-smoked half leg of ham. So right now, this ham is completely safe to eat. So if you didn't want to double smoke your ham and you wanted to use your oven, you can certainly follow along to this video. Or if you wanted to use your Weber kettle for this recipe, then I would suggest using the snake method. If you haven't used the snake method before, I'll put a link down in the video description for you to check out. But for now, we've got about 10 minutes before those briquettes are going to be ready. So we'll use that time to prepare our Christmas ham. Alright, so we want to take this skin off. Now you can either get a sharp knife and make an incision around the hock, right the way around. You don't want to go too deep because we only want to take the skin off. But if you want to make it look a little bit fancy, what we're going to do is a little zigzag pattern around the hock. And now we want to peel that skin off. So what I like to do is we'll start from one of the points on our zigzag, is we'll just cut a line down the side of our ham. And now we will just slowly and carefully start peeling this skin back. We want to leave that fat layer underneath. You want to be extra careful when you get to your zigzag lines. Don't hesitate to use your knife if there's any stubborn bits, just like so. Alright, and essentially that's what you want to be left with. Now the next thing we're going to do is just lightly score that fat in a crisscross pattern. And the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to press some cloves into the middle of each diamond. This is for a bit of decoration, and it does infuse a nice sweet aniseedy flavour in your ham as well. Alright, that's looking good. Let's check on these briquettes. Alright, as you can see, those briquettes are burning nicely. So what we'll do now is shut our lid and open up both vents. Then we'll give our barbecue 5 or 10 minutes to preheat to get up to just below our target temperature, which for this cook is going to be around 250 Fahrenheit or 120 Celsius. So we'll come back once it's ready. Alright, so we're at temperature. I've got some smoking wood ready. I'm going to be using a beautiful chunk of cherry. Most fruit woods go well with pork, so if you've got another favourite, feel free to use that. So we'll get that straight on the fire. We'll get our heat deflector in. I'm going to lay a drip tray on top of that, just because it'll get a little bit messy later when we're glazing our ham. And so this ham fits properly and our lid will close, we're going to be smoking this one on the bottom level. And then we're just going to lay our beautiful ham down on top of our cooking grate. Now we can shut our lid and let that cook away. And don't forget to take any bone shields off, like I almost forgot to do. Alright, so our smoker obviously dropped temperature when we had that lid open to get our ham on, but fire management in a drum like this is super simple. I'm just going to continue to leave both vents open until our temperature recovers, and then once we get back just below that temperature I spoke about earlier, I'm going to shut our intake vent down, leaving it just to crack open. These drums are really efficient and responsive, so if throughout this cook I need to increase my temperature, I'll simply just open up that intake vent a little bit. If I need to decrease my temperature, I'll shut it down a little bit. Or if you're using a Weber kettle and want to learn about fire management, I'll put another link down in the video description for you to check out. So that cherry smoke is going to add some beautiful flavour to that ham. And apart from that, we really just want to get this ham to a nice serving temperature. I'm going to be looking for an internal temperature of around 60 degrees Celsius or 140 Fahrenheit. I reckon that'll take 2 to 3 hours to get there, and then we'll finish our ham off with a glaze. So we'll keep an eye on this ham. We'll make sure our temperatures are running stable throughout the cook, and we'll be back once there's about half an hour to go so we can make this glaze. All right, so we are almost 2 hours in, starting to get some beautiful color on this ham. So we're sitting at about 115 Fahrenheit or 45-ish degrees Celsius. I reckon we're about half an hour to 45 minutes off. So let's make this glaze. All right, now this is so simple, but so good. Into a pot, we're gonna go a 1/4 cup of your favorite bourbon, 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1/2 cup of honey, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And we want to get that onto some medium to high heat. We want to stir this often until all that sugar's dissolved and the sauce is thickened up. All right, so our glaze simmered away for around 10 minutes before I was happy with it. You just want to get it to a syrup-like consistency. It will continue to thicken up as it cools down. You don't need to keep it hot to glaze your ham. So we're going to set our glaze aside now, and we'll be back once we're ready to glaze this ham, which I'm going to start doing once we get to just a few degrees below that internal temperature we spoke about earlier. All right, so we are ready to glaze this ham. So we're just going to give the outside of our ham a nice brush with our glaze. All right, now we're going to shut our lid. I'm going to give that glaze 15 minutes to set, and then we'll give it a second coat. All right, and after 2 glazes, we can go ahead and get our ham out. How good is that looking? We'll get it straight onto our cutting bench. All right, and we want to serve this straight away. So we'll take some slices off. And now it's time for a taste. Amazing flavour. Make sure you either take those cloves out or you cut deep enough so you miss them, because you don't want a mouthful of those. But seriously, that is so good. So there you have it, how to make a honey bourbon double smoked ham for Christmas. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Shout out to all my YouTube members for the ongoing support. But for now, that's the end of the video, so I'll see you next time.